Hello there, this is Awhobiwom. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you are new here, welcome. And if you are a returning subscriber, you already know how it is. Thank you for stopping by. So guys, today's video, I've gotten a lot of questions about, coming to Poland with family, or what if I get here? How do I bring my family? What if I get pregnant? And all those kind of questions. Now, I have personally not gone through that phase of my life, so I cannot categorically give you a straight answer when you ask me these questions. So I decided to bring someone who has gone through it and can actually give us like her own opinion or her own way about how she went through the entire process and just walk us through the process. So that's what today's video is going to be about. So guys, let's jump into the gist for today. So guys, welcome here. Today we have someone who is familiar to the channel. You already know her before. So guys, this is
Temi Tokpa.
Yeah, so Tokpa is back here today to give us all the gist. So let's start the question and answer session.
Okay.
So first of all, I would like to ask, okay, so just give us a rundown of the whole being pregnant in Poland. Like, what does it entail? Of course, we know what it entails to get pregnant. That's not what we're asking. Okay, so let's take it that you're a student, you came for your schooling, and then, okay, you got pregnant by a non-Polish person. So probably someone else who is not Polish. How do you go about this situation?
Okay, I'll be sharing, part of what I'll be sharing is mostly my experience, so that you would understand that, okay, this is from somebody who have gone through it. Okay, first of all, once you're pregnant and it's not a Polish person, you can't get a Polish passport immediately. It doesn't work this way in any part of EU or the UK. So your child has to be a Nigerian or Cameroonian, Kenya, anywhere from Africa or other countries.
Okay, so give us a brief history as to, okay, because I know you were pregnant while you were almost done with school, and as at then you had a job. So this is going to be like her own experience as being pregnant in Poland while you're in school and having a proper job that has like the insurances and all that. So that's what this story is going to be about. So that's the situation here. So can you give us, okay, first of all, let me ask, how did you do it? Like, how were you able to be pregnant and be a student and be a worker? Like, how did you do it?
I know it's a bit tough. Like, if you're not tough yourself, I don't think it's something I would advise you to go through.
Okay.
You know, Africans, we are tough. So it's always easy to do that. But I wouldn't also advise if you know your strength is not able to. I was in my final semester, trying to do my coursework and writing my project when I discovered I was pregnant. And I had a proper job at that time, which has insurance. I have indefinite contracts also, which is like one of the surest way to be assured that your job is secured.
Okay. Can you tell us about your hospital visits, the antenatal? Did you have to do any pre-registrations before you started, and what was it like?
Okay, in my case, I knew a doctor who was from Cameroon, which I visit in another city. And why I chose this doctor, okay, once you're pregnant, you're supposed to choose your gynecologist by yourself, like who you want to work with.
Oh, really?
Yes, you have the chance to do so as a pregnant mother. And if you're not comfortable with the person you have, you can always change it, depending on how free the person is. Like, if it's somebody super busy, that means you wouldn't be able to see the person frequently. And once you're close to giving birth, you also choose a pediatrician by yourself, and you'll be able to also work with the person once the child is here. So in my case, I had to choose somebody who speaks English, understand what it means to be an African woman, because this is a man from Africa.
So in a situation where you don't have a doctor that is actually African,
in that type of situation, and you cannot also speak or understand Polish, it will be advised to go with an interpreter every time you have a doctor's visitation, and it's quite expensive. So even before you have a child, it will be advised a little bit if you can understand little Polish.
Okay. So you get a doctor who speaks English, a gynecologist who speaks English, and if you cannot find a gynecologist who speaks English, you can take an interpreter with you. Okay, so how do you go about the antenatal? Back in Nigeria, I think antenatal is maybe, I don't know how it is back in Nigeria, but I know it's very frequent. Is it the same here?
Actually, when you test positive to being pregnant, well, I knew I was pregnant 3 weeks, but I started going to the doctor after something roughly 6 weeks. But when it's still early in the pregnancy, there's nothing much the doctor or the gynecologist will do for you. So they will ask you to come once in a month just to check the heartbeat of the baby. They will do like the scan to check the womb and be sure the baby is forming well in the womb and nothing is wrong. But when you go later into the pregnancy, they start asking you to come once in 2 weeks, because you're close to the due date and anything could happen. The umbilical cord could cut off and stuff like that. So because of that, they want to frequently check. They even tell you to go to nearby pharmacy, check your blood pressure, just to be sure that you're not running on a high blood pressure.
So what if you have an emergency? Maybe when you're in that condition, there are some times that you might feel some type of way. Is there like something you do in that kind of situation?
Poland is absolutely one of the best country when it comes to pregnant women. Like, really? Poland treats pregnant women like eggs. So are you
saying I should try to be pregnant now?
Not yet. They said you are ready for it.
Okay, sorry, go ahead.
It's one of the best countries for pregnant women. Like, they treat you as egg because we don't have so much children here, and they want you to produce as much as possible because like the population is downsizing. We have more elderly people than younger people, and younger people makes up the workforce. So once you're pregnant, you have the permission to call an emergency anytime. Even if you just see...
What's the number we call for emergencies?
911.
Okay, 911, I'm pregnant. Do you speak English when you're on the call with them?
Well, I try to speak Polish, but you just need to know keywords. Like, jestem w ciąży I widziałam krew. I'm sorry, it looks long, but you just need to know I am pregnant, I see blood. They would immediately ask
I am pregnant, I see blood. Okay.
Something like that. Like, I'm pregnant, I'm vomiting excessive. Just keyword. Even if you cannot join those words, if you can say something like vymioti, ciąży, they know you're pregnant, you're vomiting. Okay. And you cannot speak the language.
And then you give them your address.
And they'll be there.
So that's...
minutes.
Okay. So for people who don't have work, like you don't have a job that covers your insurance, of course, there is the normal NFZ that even as a student, you have to be subscribing for monthly, which is like 50 zloty. So this can also cover for you, right?
Yes. In Poland here, once you're pregnant and you want to give birth, it's free, whether by natural birth or through operation.
Wait, you don't pay for okay, with the
insurance? No, with your insurance as a student. You have to be insured. Once you are insured, with as little as that 50 zloty, you can give birth for free, get medications for free, do your tests, like lab tests you do during pregnancy. Everything is free. They give you the hospital to go to. It's super nice to be pregnant.
Okay, let's be serious now. Okay, so that's that about the whole during pregnancy. Okay, so let's move to the next. What of during delivery? How do you go about it? If you have like an estimated time of delivery that the doctor gives to you, do you show up on that day by yourself, or do you have to call the ambulance, or what exactly?
Okay, I would also like to note one thing before I answer this question. You have to either be a student here or working here or be a legal resident here, not on visiting visa to get all these benefits. Like, you can't visit Poland and then because you're pregnant, close to delivery, you want to go to the hospital for free. You have to pay as if you came to a private hospital, and it's quite expensive. It's like close to, I think, 4 million naira to do it. So you have to be a student or be a resident to enjoy all these benefits I just said. And you cannot really get an NFZ on a visiting visa. It's very expensive. Except you have a family member who can add you. Like, if you're my sister, I can add you to my work insurance and you can enjoy that benefit. Something like that. But you can't go on your own with a visiting visa to get an NFZ insurance.
Okay. So on the delivery day?
Yes. On the delivery day, well, this is how it works. Okay, so on the delivery date, I already know the hospital I want to give birth to. It's a big hospital right in my city. So you don't need to register in the hospital. Where I try to register so that I can get a room to myself when I want to give birth, something like family delivery. But eventually they told me I don't need to. That if there is space when I want to come and deliver.
So when you want to come and deliver, you just need to go to the hospital.
You just need to walk into the hospital.
With your documents, of course, the referral.
With every document you've received from day one, because they need to check. There are sometimes you need to do blood group. They need to know all your medical history. Whatever happens to you during the pregnancy, what are the predictions?
Your medical history, all everything. Your documents from your pregnancy.
And there's nothing to hide because it helps you to save your life.
Okay, so now let's talk about the baby now. So now the baby has come. What is the process, the documentation process? How are we documenting this child?
Okay.
The birth certificate, is this child the residence permit, just the documentation of this child?
Okay, first of all, the first document to get for any child in Poland is the birth certificate. And this is done in Urząd Cywilny. It's like the government place for
family,
like marriage, all those type of document, marriage certificates, all the type of documentation. So once you go there, they will be able to give you, in fact, once you give birth in the hospital, before you leave the hospital, let's say you give birth naturally, before the 3 days lapse and you leave the hospital without complications, they give you a document to take to the Urząd. It's like they are registered that your child is born here. So this paper is what you take there. Maybe you take an interpreter or somebody will call ahead for you. In my case, one of my colleagues called ahead for me, and then when I got there, they printed the birth certificate for me and then gave me a PESEL. This is social security number for the child. And after this, it depends on the country you are from and how you do your passport. In my case, I would have to get Nigerian passport and then bring it back and make a resident card, Polish resident card for my child.
The normal Karta Pobytu.
Yes.
Yeah, I already talked about the Karta Pobytu process in this other video. I would link it up. So just the same way.
Just the same procedure as yourself, and you just tender where you live, which work you do, insurance.
So the child takes after whatever card you have.
Yes.
So if your card is valid for a certain number of years, that's what they would give to the child.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so the next question is, I would like to ask, are there benefits? Because I know that maternity leave. So tell us about the maternity leave and then the benefits to the child and all that.
Okay, that's also one of the reasons why I said Poland is one of the best countries to have a child. Notwithstanding, if you're not ready psychologically, financially, it's not advisable to be pregnant. Okay, so now one of the benefits is that you can have 5 months straight to yourself for maternity leave. And then you can, after the 5 months, immediately after, you can have about 7 months for parental leave. So for some people, they just take that 5 months. That 5 months is compulsory. Compulsory, you have to be with your child as a mother. As a father, 2 weeks compulsory once your child comes. Now, as a parent, normally that 1 year, you can share it with your partner. Because both of you will be employed and everything. But if you don't want to share it, you can take the whole 1 year for yourself just to be with your child, and you get paid by the government.
How much do you get paid in this period?
Okay, in this period you get paid, it depends on how you want it. If you want 100% of your basic salary for 6 months and then 60% for the next 6 months, you do it that way. You have to talk about it with your employer. Or if you want 80% throughout, it amounts to the same.
Okay, so 80% throughout the 1 year, or the first 6 months 100%, and then the next 6 months 60%. Okay, so what about the child? Any benefits? Does Poland issue or offer any benefits for our babies?
Yes,
even if I'm not a citizen.
Yes, it started in 2019, and initially it was they give you these benefits for giving birth to the second child, so they want people to produce more, and then a third child, and then a fourth child, and then there are even some benefit for people who have 4 children that people who have 2 don't have. They are just strategies to give birth.
How much and how do you register for?
Well, right now it's now for every child, even if it's your first, and it's 500 zloty.
Oh, so you get 500 zloty a month to take care of this child. 500 zloty is like 50,000 naira for my Nigerian viewers.
And then
how do you document it? How do you register?
Okay, they've already linked it up with the bank. Any bank you're using, you can easily go to the portal of the bank and then register. You see 500 plus family.
Okay, so wait.
plus.
Okay, so wait. On your bank, on your mobile, no, not mobile. On your internet banking, you log on with your banking details, and there is a part that is
500 plus
okay,
family.
500 plus family. So when you click, is there like a registration form?
Yes, there is like an application form. You fill it, and they send it directly to the place.
What documents do you need to fill?
Well, for the online in the bank, you don't need to submit anything. But once it gets to them, they will contact you to bring like a residence permit.
Residence permit, yes. What else?
That's all.
Just your residence permit. You don't need any other form of documentation. And then every month, this money would show up.
So we get it around 5th or 6th
of the month, of every month. So how long would they pay this child for?
Well, they do it in batches, like maybe 2 years after you sign it, and then another 2 years you renew it.
Okay, so
but for now the law says they can pay the child till 18, but we don't know, the law can change.
Okay, so for right now, the law says the child is entitled to this money till 18, but we don't know, the law can change.
Government changes.
Yeah, government changes and rules changes every time. So yeah, so this can happen. Okay, so the next question I would like to ask is, so now for my Africans, it's normal that when you give birth, your mother would come to do like omugwo. In Nigeria, and it's omugwo. So is that available?
Yes, it depends. If you are a student, I'm not sure how it works, but in my case, I was working, so I was able to use my job contract, my house rent, to tell them that, okay, I want to bring my mom. I'm 33 weeks pregnant. I'm alone here, and
so this is going to be like a visit visa.
Yes, like 3 months.
So visa. What documents would you give? So you would give your house contract. You would give your
a contract of job.
Your work contract.
I also submitted that I graduated.
Okay, so your certificate.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter though if you're still a student.
And I submitted a letter that I wrote a letter, and my mom wrote a letter.
Okay, so you write a letter, your mother also writes a letter.
We translated it into Polish.
In Polish, so the letter is in Polish, both letters.
English and Polish.
Okay, English and Polish. Okay, so do you also give like documents from the hospital that you've given birth?
Yes, the doctor, because the doctor knows how difficult it is to get visa from Africa, so the doctor already gave me like a document to say, please, she needs her mom, she's 33 weeks pregnant, and blah 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 blah. And after then, there is something we always have as a pregnant woman. Pregnancy card is the most important thing for you, like what you take out every day, because in case something happens to you on the way, this is the only thing, because I had already gone near fainting one time before when I wanted to print a document.
I remember your pregnancy. It was crazy. You stressed us out. Okay, so wait.
So without this document, nobody will be able to tell what is your history, and they might not be able to help immediately.
Okay, so the pregnancy card, where do you get it? You get
it immediately. You register. The doctor will just give you and then sign. So every of your visitation, the doctor is signing and stamping. Make sure the doctor is signing and stamping, because if you want to go to the embassy, you can just tender it.
Okay, so they give your mother a visit visa for 3 months. Okay, so omugwo, the mother would come for 3 months and take care of the baby. So the next question is, how do you bring in a spouse?
Okay, in the situation of a spouse, there is a law here. You can make a resident permit for your spouse, and this is how it works. The law says that your previous card must be 1 year plus, and the current card you have that you want to use to bring your spouse must be 2 years plus. So without this law...
You have confused me. Wait.
It means that you've gotten a resident permit before, which is more than 1 year.
Okay.
And then you currently have a resident permit, which is more than 2 years, before you can make a resident permit for your spouse.
So for example, right now I have 3 years. So I cannot bring a spouse right now.
Do you have a previous 1 year?
I don't have a previous 1 year.
No, you can't.
Okay, so after my 3 years is done,
if you get another
then
one,
I get another one,
which is more than 2 years,
then I can now bring in a spouse.
You can make a resident permit
for a spouse. Make a residence permit
and
for
then
a spouse.
You get a paper sent to him. The person goes to the embassy, get a visa to just come and collect his card.
So other than that,
you can bring them normally, like visiting.
He can either come to visit, or he can come for school, or
any other thing,
anything.
But if you want to make a temporary resident card, it has to be this law.
Oh, okay. So the final question is, are there creches, are they like schools for your child in English? Like how does that work?
Okay, for schools in English, they're quite expensive, like very, very expensive. They're like 400k every month.
400k naira?
Naira every month. So you
don't every month?
Yes, and so you don't want to go there. It's for people who are managers of company. So, well, the language here is Polish. So, if you want to take your child to a Polish crèche, daycare, there are a lot of them, government, private. But for government, I wouldn't advise you to wait for government, because there are, even Polish people don't normally get spaces, because once the children are like 15 in a group, it's over. If your child is not in that group, you have to wait for another, like you wait on the queue.
So you advise to go to like private crèches.
And with private crèches is around the range of like 110 to 150,000 naira, monthly.
Okay.
With feeding.
Okay, so they feed the child for you and everything. So you can decide to homeschool the child in English or something.
You can decide to, but you have to work.
After crèche, normal primary education and secondary, is this paid for or this is for free?
From primary school, it becomes free for them. Okay. Even a child of a foreigner becomes free.
A child of a foreigner, primary education is free.
In government school.
In government school, primary education, secondary education.
All of those.
Even for university.
By then, the child would have gotten citizenship.
Okay, so by then, by the time the child is 18, the child would have lived long enough in Poland to be eligible for citizenship.
And then it can, to PhD level, it can be free.
Okay.
One more thing to also add, if you give birth to a child here, get your birth certificate, and then you leave Poland, if the child is 18, anywhere you are, the child can come back to claim citizenship. If you're not psychologically ready, I wouldn't advise you to be pregnant. Also, if you're not working, I would advise you wait till you start working, you balance on the job, you're sure you get your benefits because you're paying tax before you get pregnant, because without it, it could be disturbing.
But if you're pregnant for a Polish guy, of course, the child will have citizenship.
My sister.
Okay, guys, I think that's everything for now. Thank you so much again for stopping on our channel to give us all this information. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Do not forget to subscribe. Do not forget to like. Give this video a thumbs up, guys. Thank you very much. Comment down below if you have questions. I would personally channel them to Mrs. Temitokbe to answer all the questions. Of course, I would bring her answers back to you. So, all right, guys, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.
Bye.